Hello, everyone. Welcome to season 2, episode 20 of my LinkedIn live series. I'm here today joined by Michelle Griffin. She's a personal brand strategist, PR consultant, and she's also the speaker and co host of the LinkedIn Branding Show. How are you doing today, Michelle?
I am so excited to be here. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah, well, thank you for bringing the energy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Friday, right? It's the weekend.
I like doing these live streams on Fridays just because it's like a great way to sort of end the work week and the transition to the weekend. Just
Same.
something to look forward to at the end of the week.
Absolutely. Well, good. Well, I can't wait to talk about one of my favorite topics. So happy to be here.
Yeah. So our topic today is personal branding, online and offline. And I mean, Michelle, that's your title right there. Exactly shows that you are the expert in this. But before we get into our topic, Michelle, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I am obviously you see my name, and it's Michelle Griffin, personal brand strategist. I'm calling all the way from hot and sunny Florida, but what I do is I help subject matter experts who are hidden and reluctant to put themselves out there and make their unique mark in the world. And I do that with personal branding. I have a 7-step framework, and I also have a background in PR, and I help them get out with that as well. So amplifying, clarifying their message, positioning who they are and amplifying their reach. So I absolutely love doing and helping people use their uniqueness to get out there in a bigger way.
Hmm. Yeah, and at the very end of our show here, we'll talk about more about how to put yourself out there. So make sure you stick around. That's a very challenging thing to do for a lot of people, not even just introverts, but just putting yourself on the internet, putting yourself in front of an audience, both virtually or in person, is definitely a big challenge. So first of all, let's just talk about personal branding. Why is personal branding important, Michelle?
Oh, well, goodness. I mean, this day and age, it's all digital, right? I mean, I know we're going to talk about offline too, but we need to know who you are. It's no longer that we rely on word of mouth or referral. The world has opened up digitally, and we need more people to know who we are so that we can make the difference we're here to make. So, personal branding to me, and I do it in a very foundational way. It's not fluffy. It's taking the best of who you are, the genuine you, clarifying, differentiating that, and putting you out there so that people know who you stand for, who you are, and what you're known as. So you can carve out that identity in your career, your business, whatever it is you want to do. You can achieve that the right way with a foundational approach to professional personal branding, is how I like to position it as well. And also, too, I like to call it personal positioning. Really, that's all it is.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it may feel a little difficult figuring out what your personal brand is. It's such a it's like it's hard to put yourself or to label yourself as a single thing or a couple things. But the way I like to look at it and the way I help my clients with is what makes you unique. If I'm hiring you for a position, regardless of the hard skills, right? Regardless that you're good at programming or whatever or project management, what makes you unique, right? Why would I hire you over someone that has the same degree as you, who has the same projects as you? So that's a good way to start kind of how you think about what your personal brand is.
Absolutely. Because, face it, we all probably are among thousands doing the same that we do. So we want to carve out our difference and our uniqueness and the differentiation. And that really comes with your personal and professional and perspectives on things. All that blends together just well to reach and resonate with the right people you're meant or want to reach,
Mhm.
you know?
Do you have any tips on how to maybe figure out what are your own personal differentiating factors that make you stand out or that make you unique compared to anyone else?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I do have that 7-step framework. If you go on my front of my website, I outline that, and I'm happy to walk through them real quick. This is it's very much a deep dive because when I work with the clients, they come to me, very accomplished people, and they're like, I can't get out of my own head. I can't wrap my brain around all the thoughts and ideas. And so it's really hard to be a consumer of your own brand, to see the frame of the picture you're in. So, I have a, proprietary signature thing I do, but one of the fun things I do to start, and some people take this with a grain of salt, but I know that people go to coaches and career coaches for this, but there's 3 personality tests that I like to say they're little clues. And one of them is the Enneagram. These are all free tests online. One of them is the Enneagram, and that'll kind of tell you. And it really made sense for me when I transitioned some services, when I really knew exactly what I lit up doing. Another is it's a version of the Myers Briggs. It's the 16 personalities test. So it's
Hmm.
16personalities.com. And then the other one is it's called High Five, HIGH number 5, I believe. And it's those are three kind of just fun ways to start. If you've never done anything like that, and of course take the Myers-Briggs and the Clifton Strengths and all that, those really, and if you see a pattern in all those, it kind of gives you clues. Now, I've had a few clients push back and say, I don't believe in personality tests. That's not going to label me. And my take is, no, nothing labels you. We are our unique selves, but we're looking for clues. I like to say I'm a brand investigator or a diagnoser. We're trying to find all the pieces to fit you together. So those are some practical little tools that you could just have fun with for free. Check it
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, and I think with all those free personality tests, they even break it down, saying, "Oh, if you're part of
Hmm.
this group, you're good at these things, or these are, these type of situations are these are the type of situations that you excel in, or maybe you don't excel in." So it's just a great way to sort of narrow it down a little bit because I think it's very self-reflecting as well, right? Like you may think just a very general example. You might think, "Oh, you're extrovert, like you like talking to people," but you ask the questions like, "You know what? I do like some private time. I do need some time to wind down and recharge." Oh, okay, I'm more of an introvert than I realized. So it's good to do as a sort of a self reflection as well.
Absolutely. Self awareness is so important than the self identity. That's why my number one stage of my framework, number one pillar is perspective. And so that's probably the most critical part to really, discover and define. And, for instance, I realized doing all those things, there's a new category. I don't know if you're familiar, I'm sure you are, but being an ambivert, someone's kind of
Yeah.
introverted, extroverted. I even go as far as to say, I'm actually very extroverted in real life or in person, but online, I have to work harder because I'm more of an online introvert, which is really
Hmm.
weird. Like it's hard for me to open up. I mean, not so much on LinkedIn Lives where I'm just talking, but to like put content and stories, it's actually harder for me. So I can so relate when I work with my clients who have that same issue.
That's yeah, that's very interesting as well. And I think the key is to know what your brand is, and especially if you're a coach or you have some sort of services that you help others with, that resonates, right? Your brand
Hmm.
resonates with other people, right? So that's why
Hmm.
my brand, helping shy introverts achieve build confidence to achieve success. I used to be a shy introvert. I can empathize with all the different struggles you're going with as a shy introvert. Not putting yourself out there, lacking confidence, just having that self doubt. I've been there, right? So that
Hmm.
really resonates with my clients.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's a muscle. I mean, I was very hesitant the first year of my consultancy. I found it. I knew I had to get out there, but I was relying on word of mouth and referrals, and I knew
Mhm.
I had to grow. And so it was really hard. I had to do some things too. And that's why last year I posted 365 days every day of 2021 to flex that muscle, to flex that confidence muscle for me and just make it a rhythm. It really did help. And I'm sure that's what you did when you put yourself out there, having these LinkedIn live shows. Getting out there is the biggest hurdle. And once you do, you just take the micro steps, even smaller than baby steps, the micro moment steps, right? And it just
Well,
adds up. So,
that is crazy. 365 days
yeah.
of posting. So I know,
Yeah.
Michelle, we connected somewhat recently, but when I started putting myself out there on LinkedIn in 2018, I did a 52-week challenge of videos. So at least I
Oh
had
my
time to
goodness.
like, in between, what am I going to talk about next week? And I had grad school. I was busy with other things. So it was a good schedule for me. I thought about doing some sort of 365-day thing, and I was just like, I don't think I could pull it off. But that's
It was
amazing that you
tough.
did. I mean, how many people can really say that, right? I did a 365-day posting challenge. So that
I
that makes you
did.
stand out.
Well, thank you. Actually, it was 531 days with all the LinkedIn lives and as I posted, and I had the 365 challenge groups. Anyway, here's the thing: I don't do that today. This year, I'm like 3 to 5 days. The minimum I'll do is 3 days because I want to.
Mhm.
I use LinkedIn as my launching pad. I'm always
Mhm.
going to be here, but now I'm building other things. So, but that's how it is. Just take that big bold step or micro step, whatever it is for you. There's not one size fits all. You got to figure out what works for you and then go in that direction.
And just a curious question from when you started that from day one to day 365. How big did your network grow in between that 1 year?
Oh my goodness, really? Well, okay, here's the thing. It probably would have grown a lot bigger, but I shaved off 2,500 connections from my former industry just because I feel like a lot of them weren't even active and they were just kind of weighing down my
Mhm.
algorithm. So over the course of like 6 weeks, I shaved off 2,500. So I think I grew by like 15,000 or something. So
Ooh,
not 15, but then I took out
yeah.
2,500. So yeah. So I mean, but I'm not one of those people that was very selective and I was very niche. And I really feel like the engagement, and I'm not one to talk numbers, but I did get in the millions of impressions and stuff like that because I was doing it daily, and so that really helped. It really grew me personally and
Yeah.
professionally, and really bumped up the business. So the stats are there and the proof is there. If you do put yourself out there in the consistent way we all hear, it does pay off. But the sad thing is that too many people don't stay in it for the long game. It's not a one and done quick fix, as you know, right? So you've been here since 2018, right? Doing this.
Yeah, yeah, you can't just hope one post goes viral and then you just have a bunch of followers. It's all consistent. I mean, you see all the people who have hundreds of thousands of followers. They are posting consistently. They're not just posting once a week.
Mm-mm.
I'm not saying you have to post every single day, but like Michelle, you're posting 3 to 5 times a week. I'm doing the same as well. With
Mm-hmm.
different types of content. So that's what you have to be. You have to be consistent. And this is a
Absolutely.
and this
No, go
is
ahead.
great to talk about how to build your personal brand online. We talk about creating content. What are some other ways people can build their personal brand online?
Oh, absolutely. I was just about to say, look, if you want to supplement, and this is what I did. So I knew in 2020 when I started my consultancy, I knew, and after the pandemics, got a few months into it, I was like, I got to do something. So I knew by 2020 I was starting to post, but then last year I ramped it up. Last year when Clubhouse was big, I started.
Mm,
You don't have to ask for permission or perfection is my goal here. So I started a personal branding mastery Clubhouse, ran it for 6 months, I believe, 6 or 7 months last year, every week on Clubhouse. And then for almost a year, I was one of the master lead moderators in LinkedIn Mastery. So I did
mm,
that. I had a LinkedIn live show all last summer. Now it's like, and then I was for the first 3 months of this year, I was a beta. I actually got in the LinkedIn creator program. So I was an early beta
Oh,
tester.
congrats.
Yeah, for not the one that where they give you money, just the one that you get like a creator manager. There's a difference, but you do get early access to the tools. So I was super excited after doing audio to try out LinkedIn audio, which was for 90 days. I did it weekly or twice a week. And that was a wonderful way. So I want to just stress if writing's fine, you did video, but showing up and seeing your face or hearing your voice or both is a way to really have people really get to know you faster, right? They see you, they hear you, and it just makes for a more instant connection to start conversations. And that's what we want to do. So I also started a podcast, or like maybe like you took those LinkedIn lives early on and then also have podcast interviews. So I did a lot last year, still doing some of it. But you can do it. You don't have to think of LinkedIn as just the one place. I like to say it's a starting point, but let me caution, you shouldn't do too much too. I was doing a lot and I realized that I was burning myself out. It's not sustainable, but at the same time, it really expedited me. So you just find the rhythm and the pace that works for you, and then keep that pace and space that works. Because if you burn out, and we see this too, people go in all. It's like going to the gym at the beginning of the new year, right? People like, oh, I'm going to do this and this and this, and then 6 weeks later they're gone. So find the even place, and then that's how you do it. So there's way more places and areas, but those are some key ones that come off LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think that just to summarize all of that in a few words is just show up, right? So,
Absolutely.
and I mean, to your point, it's not just showing up on LinkedIn. I mean, even on LinkedIn, showing up in different ways, right? You have the audio rooms, you have the LinkedIn lives, you have your own videos, you have your own posts, right? Because if you don't show up, no one knows you exist. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
it's the same thing when you're at work, right? If you just
Mm-hmm.
stay in your cubicle all day, you don't talk to anyone, you
Nope.
get your stuff done, which is great. You get paid, but no one knows that you're getting your stuff done, right? Like you have to rely on your manager. And even in that case, you want to put yourself in different different platforms, different opportunities, right? You said podcast, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's whatever platform, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to go all in just in a single one. Just try a few ones, build your personal
Yeah,
brand because there's different users. There's different users in different platforms as well. So again, just
absolutely.
show up in different places and in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. LinkedIn newsletters is another good one too. And then here's the thing, I archived all my content, so I'm able to repurpose it a lot and reformat it. So one thing I really stress to my clients, you're putting in amazing stuff. We're going to find other ways to use it and leverage it because, as you say, people consume and like to consume in different ways this way, video, audio, text. So, leveraging all that is really going to help spread your message without as much effort. So that's another thing.
Yeah, and yeah, great point about those about the LinkedIn newsletter. So I did this in 2017 and 18. I brought it back again this year where I post my goals for the year, and every single month I share an update. And I get a lot of comments from people, a lot of messages from people saying, "Wow, you're inspiring me to go work on my goals." And I think it helps really build that connection as well, because I'm sharing personal goals as well, as right, not just our professional goals or content creation goals. I shared my wedding updates, my buying a house updates, all these personal things going on. So it really helps connect with your audience. You're not just some influencer or some person with tens of thousands of followers. You're just a genuine real person as well.
Absolutely. And that's what personal branding is. We want to see the personal side. Now, for some people, they're going to be a little bit more open about what that means. And so I had this word I coined last year. It's called professional. It's a mixture being personable and professional, right? So, I love that, because when we come to work, we talk around the water fountain cooler, whatever they say. It's like, you don't sit there and talk, did you hear those marketing stats today? I mean, you're going to talk about, hey, what'd you do this weekend? What's that? I mean, that's how we have to think about that in our personal brand. We're sharing other parts of us too. And so mix that up too. But there is a balance, right? We don't want to get too personal and people don't know what our expertise is, and then too expert and people don't know that we're a person. So find the balance as well.
Absolutely. And then, so now, with showing up online, show up on a variety of different ways. How can you build your personal brand offline? Is it the same strategy, or do you have some, differences, little tweaks there as well?
Yeah, well, now that things hopefully are opening up, across the world, getting out there, we've all been kind of, tied up inside. And so building our personal brand, I went to a couple of networking events the last couple of weeks and I spoke at one, and it's just an in-person connection with someone, going to industry events, getting seen in the places you want to be seen and known as, professionally. That's going to really help. But before you do that, I would say come knowing, have a good introductory pitch. When you go to a networking event, people want to know, what do you do? Well, instead of saying, I'm an accountant, you can find a better way to say that, so there's maybe spice that up a bit, or, so so you can continue the conversation. The word conversation is so key. That's how we get to know people, build trust, start relationships. And that's what personal branding is, at the top level, of course, is the foundational. But going to events, and being well versed in who you are, what you stand for, and what you do is going to really help. So nail that. I don't even like the word elevator pitch. Maybe your personal brand statement, your one line defined. That's what I like to call it. But those are some of the ways. Start local, then regional, and then build that up. So online and offline both work powerfully together.
Yeah. And I was going to add on to your point there. We're more than a job title, right? So
Yes.
I do have a full-time job, but when I introduce myself, I say I'm a full-time program manager, but on the side, I'm a career coach, public speaker, and I go into the, what my mission statement is, right, with helping shy introverts. So that, instead of a job title where, again, people make certain assumptions of what you do, or what your capabilities or your competency is based on your job title, share that statement. I think, yeah, that's a much better way of explaining it, Michelle. Instead of having an elevator pitch where it's 30 seconds and you're sort of rambling on, especially when you don't practice it, just saying, hey, this is my mission statement. This is what I'm all about. And I think that's just allows the other person to sort of dig a little deeper. Oh, how do you help people, right? Or what inspired you to do this, right? So it helps drive that conversation even further.
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't be canned. They always say know it, but when you, like you just said, just be conversational. And I love that. And you're like, I need to, on my new podcast rebrand, I need to interview a whole segment of corporate professionals who have their job, but they lead on LinkedIn and they're leading with, what they're known for. I can think of a couple other people I know, and I absolutely love that. I'm going to just throw this question back to you. Do you even talk about your work on LinkedIn, or is it mostly just what you're known for, helping shy professionals?
Yeah. So on LinkedIn, I do, my profile, has my program, I'm a program manager, it has like stuff I do just in general, but in my content, in my LinkedIn lives, I don't really talk about work.
Okay,
I
so I
think
thought.
especially before my current job, I was in the defense industry. So everything about that was a little more hush hush. But
Mm-hmm.
even like I did a couple posts where I shared, this is what I learned as a project manager. Like, here are some things that I learned when I transitioned from engineering to project manager. And those posts did not do well. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 2 or 3 different parts to it. Right. So it's not just a single post as a test. I did 2 or 3 times. It just didn't do well because it just didn't resonate with my audience. Because what percentage of my audience are really project managers or looking to transition into project management? It's not that much. That's not my niche. I'm not trying to help people get into project management. But the rest of my
Exactly.
content, especially those that talk about building confidence, getting comfortable with public speaking, or posting on LinkedIn, those resonate with a lot more of my audience. Or where I share some struggle where, hey, this is how I started. This is my first video. You can see how bad it was, but that's how I started. And you can see where I am today. So yeah, I don't mix in the work just because it's not as relevant to what my brand is on LinkedIn, especially
And
to what my audience is looking for as well.
absolutely. I love that example and case study, if you will, because that's what you want to be known for, what you just articulated. So, yeah, so I'm always surprised when I find out that this isn't your full-time job or some other people I know. I'm like, oh, wow. It's not that you're hiding it. It's just you're not leading with it. And
Mhm.
and I just wanted to illustrate that point. If you're in a corporate job and you don't want to lead with that or be known in that particular like project management for you, and you have this passion expertise, is what I call it. You can certainly do that. Now, sometimes some companies have weird social media policies or whatever, but that's another story for another day. But you've made a case of this for what, 3 years now doing this, so that's really good.
Yeah.
So definitely doable. So your personal brand, as you say, is not your job title. I've actually written a post about that before. So, and it's also, it doesn't have to be your job title in your headline or your bio
Yeah.
either. So
Mhm.
love that.
Yeah, I've never had an issue with the, even my previous employer, like never had an issue with my posting on LinkedIn with my LinkedIn lives. I always posted first thing in the morning before I even started work. And then,
Hmm.
I'm not on LinkedIn during the day, commenting or engaging. I do it, before work and even after work. Most of my LinkedIn lives were at 5 o'clock on Fridays. Today's a little exception, but most of them are
Hmm.
5 o'clock. So that's after work hours on a Friday too. So never had an issue with it. If someone had an issue, then I just say, this is my hobby, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
if you have issues with what I do outside of work, then that's not an employer I want to work for, right? If you're trying to,
Exactly.
be careful, watch what I'm doing. So,
Absolutely.
so yeah, I was gonna say as well, when I introduce myself, when I do a presentation to like college students or to a group about, let's say personal branding or LinkedIn, I always start with, I'm a full-time program manager, but the reason I'm here is because of my LinkedIn content. So I'm talking more about that, right? Because that's what my audience wants to hear about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I just love that. So yeah, there's many ways to do your brand and it doesn't have to be your full-time job. So you
Mhm.
can do both really well, which you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So now let's get into our last topic here. How do you put yourself out there? And not just how do you do it, but how do you build up the confidence to put yourself out there?
Oh my goodness, that's such a wonderful question. In fact, I did a post this week about that got some traction. In fact, I got a bunch of DMs from people who told me, "Wow, that post really spoke to me," and that's me. So my thing is, and I really work with people who are hidden and reluctant. They know they need to get out there. They want to get out there. Me, that was me. A couple years ago, and they're armed with everything, but they just don't want to start. The fear of judgment, the fear of being seen, the wrong things. Or it's been said before. Why me? I've heard it all, and I'm sure you have too.
Hmm.
So, one of the things I work with my clients is the mindset. Like you have expertise that only you can share, and there's probably someone out there that needs to hear it from you. I'm sure this has happened to you, Stephen. I know it's happened to me. You may have heard the same thing several times, but it wasn't until that one person said it in the way and the particular wording they said it, it just hit you like that was a moment for me. I get it now. So I cannot tell you how many times this happened to me. So yes, like there's thousands of us who do what we do and but not exactly the way we say it. So I work really hard on the mindset first. You have something that needs to be out there. And if we don't know you, we can't help you, or you can't help them rather. So your personal brand, one other thing is people worry that it's being too promotional. It's all about me. It's narcissistic, self-promotional. I get that all the time. Honestly, I didn't want to put myself in the spotlight. My previous jobs, I was in PR and event marketing. I put people in the spotlight. I was, the person who put you on stage, not me. So then I realized, wow, if people don't read minds, they don't build it if you come. You have to, in this day and age, as it gets more crowded and competitive, you have to carve out your unique niche, your unique positioning, category one, and let people know. It is your job to find that. So I created that 7-step program. I was actually speaking 3 years ago. I started putting myself out when I had here's my backstory in 2 seconds. I wanted to leave my previous role. It was a great job. I wasn't growing, but for 5 years, I was stagnant and stuck. Okay. I couldn't do it. So instead of putting myself out there, like getting on LinkedIn, imagine if I would have gotten on LinkedIn in 2015 and doing all the things, sharing my expertise and knowledge. Instead, you know what I did? I submerged myself, and I said submerged because sometimes I felt like I was drowning in content, podcasts, but also I was getting all these doing courses, certifications, credentials, thinking I needed all this to get out there. Absolutely not. I had a master's in PR at that time and many years experience. Don't ask me why. It was a fear factor. So the moment I realized I finally started putting myself out, like 2 years before I left, I started speaking everything. Long story short is I spoke at this IT conference and they said, Michelle, just speak on anything on STEM. And then I'm like, I don't know anything in STEM, but there's a new acronym, right? STEAM, where they put
Mhm.
arts. So I say, oh, communication is an art. So long story short, I wrote this and presented this really good presentation called Own Your Message. How to step out to stand out in your industry. And in it was a 7-step framework that is now, I had it in me already, is what I use now to help my clients and actually me, because I realized, oh my goodness, if I just did this, I could get the heck out of there. So I kid you not, 6 weeks, this was in April 2019, about 6 weeks after this presentation, in May of 2019, I gave my notice and I officially left my job January 31st of 2020. But anyway, the 7 steps is the clarity and the framework to get the clarity, get the positioning and the momentum. So I can walk real quick, or you can go to my website. You can see the 7 P's that I walk clients through. Because when you have that foundation, Stephen, it gives you the guardrails. Okay.
Mhm.
You know who I am internally, what I stand for, who I'm here to serve. Like, you're here to help what? College students, young professionals? Is that your
Yep.
audience pretty
Mhm.
much? Yes. Here's who I am. I'm 100% clear on who I am, what I stand for, and here I'm help. And then you can flip the switch and say, I'm out here to help you, bring you my expertise and message so I can help you get the change and transformation you so desperately need. So that is it in a nutshell, why having a guardrail and the clarity. And then, so the first one is perspective. Number 2 is people. We need to know our people. But in that, we need to have partners. Our power
Mhm.
partners will help amplify us, cross pollinate each other's audiences, and just build us up faster than we can. Number 3 is positioning. How are we different and have that category of one where it resonates and, repels the wrong people and attracts the right people?
Mhm.
So once you get the clarity trifecta, number 4 is packaging. Not in a false, flashy Instagram or fake way, but how I'm taking all my expertise, having my own stuff, my brand. That's where the visuals come in, the messaging, all the things, your social profiles. How am I packaged across the board so I'm known as and I look the part? Then we get into publishing, where you're sharing your expertise, your thought leadership in the format and the way that you do best and your audience consumes, the multiple ways, audio, visual, and text or whatever. Publishing is a wonderful way. You need to build there and get the momentum, build a community and audience. And then you're ready for number 6, which is promotion. That's
Mhm.
where you get the speaking, the podcasting, guest podcasting, blog, all the ways it's going to amplify your mission with PR and press and events and all the ways. And then number 7 is propel. So a lot of people stay in the 6 and 7 stage because propel is where your brand never stops, right? You're going to continue to say yes to bigger opportunities. You're going to continue to realize, I need to get out of my growth. I need to get out of my comfort zone. I'm now in my comfort zone again. I need to jump to the growth zone. So you're going to keep propelling to do bigger things, to keep making more of an impact, because that's very much why I do personal branding, is to be out there to make an impact, for you and for others, for your community, for your work, all those things, and then just keep growing. So that is the 7 steps that I really high level view gave you. But if you can just keep going on there, you're going to propel up and
Mhm.
just keep growing your brand, your business, and you. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing the 7 P's of personal branding. I don't know if that's part of your training program, but I think that's a lot of good alliteration there with the seven.
Absolutely. I love alliterations.
Well, that's when you know you're a good coach, when you have that specific, 4-step, 3-step, 7 P's or something like that. That's no, that's when you know you have a great program.
Well,
I
thank
just
you.
wanted to add on to just basically putting yourself out there. We are our own toughest critics. It's like
Yes.
you said, it's a mindset change. We think that people are going to judge us. We think I get this a lot with videos. Oh, I look funny or I sound funny, and I say, well, you look the same to everyone else out there. You sound the same to everyone else out there. We're just not used to looking at ourselves.
Mhm.
And then you talked about having the credentials as well. Some people are scared to post because they say, "Oh, I only have 500 connections or 200 connections."
Mhm.
Well, what's that magic number, right? Is it 1,000? Like once you hit 1,000, you magically can start posting because you have one extra person that's willing to look at your content. So again, just get out of your own your own head, right? Get out of that mindset and just put yourself out there because the worst thing that can happen is nothing. Like nothing happens,
Exactly.
right? No
Actu
engagement, no one looks at it, but which is the same result as if you didn't do anything at all. So,
Absolutely, and 2 little things in that, on LinkedIn especially, they say 95% of the people learn or lurk or whatever you wanna call it, so a lot of my people or clients that I work with, their DMs come from people who don't even engage in my stuff, but they're reading it, or they'll
mhm,
say, "I like this and like that," so that's one thing. Also too, there's a really good article, and I can post in the comments. Of course, we know about the 2008 article, like 1,000 true fans. You don't need thousands of people. There's even one now that came out more recently, it was called 100 true fans. So you don't need, to your point about 1,000 followers. If you've got something to share and you can help people, get out there, because I've seen so many creators like this. They just start and they just keep at it and they keep at it and it just snowballs.
mhm,
So it just takes time. And I think in our instantaneous society, we're so used to instant everything. And sadly, building a personal brand is not one of those. But at the same time, nothing is easy. Anything worth fighting or worth getting is usually never easy, right?
mhm,
But you're building an asset, okay, that no one can take away from you. Okay,
mhm.
it is yours. So I say start now, and or start soon. Don't keep waiting. Like I wasted a whole year in 2020 even. So that's why I'm always like, well, you see behind me, for those seeing this, you can see my mantra, put yourself out there. Like, I believe in it so much. It's like behind me in every call and Zoom. So hopefully it's like subliminal to people by now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just want to share what you just said. Just put yourself out there. I literally just saw this post today. So my LinkedIn Live guest from last week, Reg Staffstrom, he put out a post saying he started the year off with 400 followers, and now he has 15,000. And
Oh, that's amazing.
he just posted on LinkedIn. And he has he has some sort of dry humor with his post, so it's not like super formal, super serious. You can even say, "Oh, it's I might not say some of these things in the workplace, depending on who you work with." But I mean, that's who he is, right? That's how his brand is. He's just straight to the truth, right? No filter, and yeah, he's been able to grow so much in just the 7-8 months here.
That's huge. That's really good. And I see a lot of people who do that. LinkedIn has changed. Even the headquarters are redefining with their campaigns what professional means. So you don't have to feel like you have to be all professional and, perfect and all that. People, I mean, just look at the feed. It's changing. People are
Mhm.
resonating and want that. So, case in point, just do it. And trust me, we all feel that way.
Yeah.
We're humans, we're wired, but the pain of staying stagnant, invisible, to me is worse than the pain of just doing it. And
Mhm.
trust me, because I've done both, and you probably have too. Right?
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen to you, and you're going to end up getting a little bit clearer. Clarity breeds action, and or
Mhm.
action breeds clarity is what I meant to say. But it does help, and confidence too. So all those things work. Just do it.
Yep, just do it. That's the key. So,
Yes.
Michelle, thank you so much for being a guest here, sharing everything about personal branding, why your personal branding is important, how to build your personal brand offline or online and offline, how do you put yourself out there. You talk about your 7 Ps. I just want to give you the last couple minutes here to plug. How do you help others? What do you need help with, or what are you working on? Michelle's LinkedIn profiles here, linkedin.com/in/Michelle B. Griffin. Yeah, go ahead, Michelle. I'll let you share.
Well, first of all, thank you again for having me. It's been a pleasure to speak on personal branding. If we're not connected and you're listening to this, please find me on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you. Tell me you saw me here, especially. You can go to my website, michellebgriffin.com, as well. I'm in the middle of rebranding it. I'm actually working on a rebrand now and getting all new services coming out, rebranding my podcast. I have 2 podcasts you can check out. So one is the Business of You right now, the personal branding podcast. There's 51 episodes of all amazing things you can learn to build your brand. You can check out the LinkedIn Branding Show, which is my co-hosted show with Michelle J. Raymond. We get really nitty-gritty on how to build your personal and company brand LinkedIn. So those are 2 good assets if you want. Um, Also, if you want to get on LinkedIn, and this is going back, Stephen, to in January of last year when I wanted to, and I did get out every year. A lot of people wanted to come, so I formed a group. We're now a community called the 365 creators. It's a free LinkedIn community. Hit me up on my profile. It's free. People all over the world. We're all building our personal brands on LinkedIn. So I'm in there doing LinkedIn content now. I made a decision this year that I'm not leading so much with LinkedIn. I put all my stuff in there. So we're doing that. And also, yeah, I'm bringing out new services and things starting early in September. So working hard on that. And yeah, so if you have any questions on personal branding, hit me up. I'm always here to just help. I mean, you'll see on my banner, it says open to helping, because I've been there. You've been there, Stephen. I hate when it just pains me to see people who want to get out there and are so ready and they just are held back. Like, that's just my work mission, to help more people get out there like that.
Yeah,
So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, I feel the same way. So connect with Michelle here. Check out her website, michellebgriffin.com. And as you said, you got a lot of new stuff coming up in September. So make sure to connect with her. Before we wrap up here, Michelle, any final words you want to leave the audience with?
Just look, hey, we've all been there, from CEOs to consultants. We all have that inner thing of being hidden and feeling held back, but don't let that stop with you, because you definitely need to put yourself out there. Only you can make your unique mark in the world. So definitely take that micro step, or like me, take a leap off the cliff, but just do it, because I promise you, the pain of staying still and hidden is worse than the pain of getting out there.
Yeah, you don't want to have that feeling of regret saying, oh, I should have done this 1 year ago, 5 years ago. You're in the same position, right? So always grow, challenge yourself, take that next step.
Absolutely. Keep growing. So anyway, that's it in a nutshell. Can't be as more simple, but as challenging as that. But there's the steps there today. And it's been a pleasure to speak with you and get to know you more today, Stephen.
Yeah, likewise. And again, thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing your insights as well. So everyone connect with Michelle B. Griffin on LinkedIn. Make sure you check out her website, michellebgriffin.com as well. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you again, Michelle. And I'll talk to you all next week.
All right. Thank you.